Hi guys, it's Man v Miles here, and today I'm going to talk about gels, but not just ordinary gels. I'm here to talk about all natural energy gels. Now, I'm not going to go into why gels are a good thing for running and the science behind why and when you should take them. I think it's fairly understood that when you're running marathons or longer distances, you're going to need to top up your readily available carbs in order to get you through those runs. And so what people do over the years is they're looking for a portable way to get that energy into their systems, and gels, more often than not, particularly over the marathon distance, and I think this is what we'll focus on here, they offer a really convenient way to do that. You can carry them, you rip open the top, pop down a gel, sometimes you need water, sometimes you don't, and on you go. It's harder to eat solid food if you're trying to run at high intensity, at a fast pace. Gels, and the way that their consistency makes it somewhat easier to do that. They're a little bit gentler, at least in theory, on the stomach. Now, when I first got into marathon running, like most people, I was pointed in the direction of pretty standard gels from some of the very, very popular brands that we'll all know about. And these are the guys like we've got here, Cliff, you've got, very, very popular brand Gu. There's others amongst them. Talk are a fairly popular brand here in the UK. OTE. Now, I've used these for a long time, but in recent years I've started to discover something a little bit different, and that is kind of an all-natural way to fuel myself. I'm really interested in sort of everything that I do when I'm training and racing to try to give myself bang for buck from a nutritional point of view. And when you look at what is in a lot of these standard gels and you look at the ingredients, you start to realise that there ain't a lot of good stuff in here, and to be honest, you don't feel great at the end of a marathon after you've been chuffing back 6 of these or these, and I'd argue that there are very few runners out there who think, brilliant, I can't wait to mile 22 until I can scoff down that next gel. Mainly you kind of put up with them and they're a necessary evil. Okay, some people out on the internet are out there say, I love cookies and cream and I love this, blah 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 blah. Fair enough, and that's your thing, and you've got to do what works for you, and that's the first thing in this video. Whatever works for you, keep doing it. But I wanted to show you that there's potentially a different way than taking, you go through the ingredients of what's in some of these gels. So this one is the Cliff Shot Raz, and this is maltodextrin, it's dry cane syrup, water, raspberry juice from concentrate, sea salt, potassium citrate, and citric acid. In Gu, we've got maltodextrin as well. In this Talk one, the ingredients that we're looking at, where are they? We've got 43% maltodextrin, we've got water, fructose, citric acid, and there are electrolytes in there, and there's potassium sorbate. Now, most of these are all based on maltodextrin, and maltodextrin is a pretty cheap ingredient, and frankly, along with refined sugar, it ain't very good for you, and taking a lot of it is not really great. What also can happen, I find, with maltodextrin is that you get that crash, spike and crash. So a lot of people, when they talk about energy gels, they say, I really felt it, you're looking for that feeling, or when you take it you want to feel it's almost like a positive that you feel the rush. But then I put it out there that after you have that rush with a lot of gels, 10 minutes later you can have a big crash and you feel rubbish again. And while the energy high is good because it's discernible and it makes us feel good, it makes we feel like we've had a positive impact on our fueling and our racing, actually I think there's a detrimental effect to some of these. So I've started to investigate other ways of getting energy into the system that aren't really based on cheap chemicals. And so this video is a run through of some of those gels. I'm going to whip through them now, but we'll go into greater detail in a sec. But things like 33 Shake, things like the Humagel, Spring, and Endurance Tap. Now, a lot of these chia seeds, you've got Himalayan pink salt, coconut palm sugar, you've got raw vanilla in that one. In this one, it's a chia seed again, apple puree, you've got filtered water, brown rice syrup, sea salt, and cinnamon. Endurance Tap is maple syrup based, and aside from that, I think that's all that's in that one. A bit of sea salt and a bit of ginger. So what you've got here are a bunch of gels that have got all natural ingredients. They're all natural single ingredients, so you know what they look like. You could describe them. These ones, not so much. These ones definitely. And okay, people will disagree with me, and that's fine. Stick a comment down below about how I've bought, drinking the Kool-Aid here. But for me personally, I really like to, or I much prefer to eat things that are all natural and that I know are kind of whole single ingredients. And I think the flavour profiles of these far outweigh the flavour profiles of these sort of chemical ones. But anyway, let's go inside and I'm going to show you a little bit closer up what these natural energy gels look like and how they compare to some of the maltodextrin based gels, and talk about why I think that these are a really good option that's definitely worth a try if you're looking for new ways to fuel your endurance runs. Just for shits and giggles, here comes the spring one. There you go, chocolate. You look at that, it looks like a chocolate mousse. It's actually not quite that texture, but it's not far off it. Now let's add in the humour gel. Another chocolate. Oh, look at that. That is very hard to get out. It's actually quite hard to squeeze out of the packet, but you can see that looks a little bit like a chocolate sauce. But again, there's sort of texture and substance to it. Let's throw in some endurance tap. And you'll see runny maple syrup. That's maple syrup, runny maple syrup. Throw in a bit of raw velo. Look at that, that's properly runny as well. Finally, got the One Pro. That. Very runny. So first up, we've got the Spring Energy Gel. This is a little bit of a cheat here, and I'm going to own up to it because I've used up all of my other Spring gels. This one's actually a recovery version of the Spring Energy Gels, but the recipes are similar, and they're all based on quite similar ingredients, really. So this one we're looking at, it's got basmati rice, organic banana, organic pea protein. There's cherries, organic coconut oil, almonds, walnuts, cassava, maple syrup, dried cherries, and there's organic lemon juice, cocoa, sea salt, vitamin C, and citric acid. So again, we're looking here at all natural ingredients in the form of a gel. They're really easy to open. The rip top on this one was fantastically easy. In terms of the energy hit, and bear in mind this is a recovery one, so you're supposed to use this just after, but you're looking at a 43 gram gel in terms of weight, so it's pretty good. That's lighter than the SiS. And in terms of the carbohydrate content, you're only going to get 12 grams here. But the other Spring gels, it's worth saying, have a higher carbohydrate content, the ones that are supposed to be used during the race. As I say, annoyingly, I've used them all, so I've had to use this one as a kind of basis for this video. But in terms of taste, you can see here the texture of this is quite gloopy. It's quite thick, it's quite powdery, it's quite tart to taste. So you can almost feel the rice, and there's quite a ricey sort of feeling to it as you're eating it. So I think it's It's pleasant. It's a little bit sour, which I find, can be good if you're mixing these in with other things that you've been using on your race and you're looking for something to bring a different taste profile from all the sweetness that you might be having. That's actually a nice contrast kind of counterpoint. So this one's got quite a chocolatey flavour as well, which is pleasant. And overall, fairly nice. There's a very, very different feel. So next up we've got, these are called Raw Velo, and these guys do a range of gels and other bars that you can buy. Again, it's all organic, it's all natural, these are completely vegan. From one of these, which is in a more kind of standard looking gel packet, it's not unlike the SiS in terms of its size and its weight. Let's have a look and see what we've got here. We've got 50 grams, so 10 grams lighter than an SiS, and for that you will get 20 grams of carbohydrates. Inside this gel you've got water, organic rice syrup, you've got organic grape juice, concentrate that is though, organic coconut sugar, and you've got orange juice from concentrate, you've got lemon juice from concentrate. There is a gelling agent which is carob gum, and there's sea salt. And let's have a look. I mean, you can see I've opened this one earlier, and it's already sort of still dripping. It's a very, very runny. It's almost a liquid, not a gel. That's by far one of the most liquid gels I've ever had. It's fairly pleasant. It's sweet, very sweet. You can taste the orange. The blood orange really comes through. It's quite zingy. There's definitely a big hit of the citrus in there. But I think what's most interesting here is that this is almost, you could squish this in and it'd be a drink. And although it's all natural though, I think it's almost feels like it's been formulated to be like a more standard gel, whereas this spring one, they're chalk and cheese here. This one's very sort of thick and the consistency is totally different. So this one a little bit more like your standard energy gel, really, really citrusy, strong orange flavour, does taste natural, but the consistency is more like one of the slightly more artificial gels. So that one is your Raw Velo in blood orange. Not unpleasant at all. Now, slightly different. This is One Pro Nutrition. This is energy gel. This one, 22 grams of carbohydrate in a gel that's a 50 grams, so the same as the Raw Velo. Well, this is slightly different because it's not all natural. This brand have taken some of the nasties out, but you've still got maltodextrin really as its base. You've also got fruit juice concentrate. For this one you've got raspberry, you've got watermelon, and you've got Sicilian lemon juice. And they've also put in some sea salt, and there's a gelling agent in here, and they've added some branched chain amino acids in there for good measure as well. It's vegan, and the idea really behind the One Pro Nutrition is that they've tried to make everything else that's in there apart from the maltodextrin as clean as possible. But it's not as far along the chain as something like a Humor or like a 33 shape gel, which is 100% kind of clean eating, really, no maltodextrin. So let's have a taste of this one. I mean, that's again, it's more runny. It's a bit more like the Raw Velo. You can see it's the consistency really is quite liquid. And you can see that sort of bubbling up over the top there. There, runs right down. So again, it's more liquid than gel. It actually tastes a little bit like the coating of a toffee apple in a way. It's got that kind of sweet, sort of toffee taste. Again, not unpleasant, but doesn't really taste very natural, if I'm honest. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would be okay, but after a few of those, I think you might start to struggle. So onto this one is the Humor, and this is I say Kia, that's Italian comes through, but Kia, however you want to pronounce it. This one, in terms of its carbohydrates to the ratio, you've got a gel which is 36 grams, so it's nice and light. Again, this rip top on this one was really easy to get open. The nutrition, you're going to get out of that 36 grams, you're going to get 25 grams of carbohydrate. So that's quite a high bang for buck carbohydrate ratio for how much weight you're going to carry. And in terms of the ingredients in here, there's a few things that are starting to become familiar in these all natural gels. You've got cane juice, you've got brown rice syrup, that's one that pops up again and again and again. There's filtered water, cocoa powder, cocoa butter, milled chia seeds, vanilla, sea salt, and there's some natural caffeine in this. And this one actually, again, going back to the spring, it's more like the spring. It comes up very thick indeed. It's more like the consistency of a Gu gel, this one. You know, if you think about Velo and the One Pro are more on the lines of the SiS, these are more going back to the Gu gels. Very sticky. Coat your teeth and your tongues. You're going to need a drink with this to wash that down. Really sweet, not as powdery as the spring, which is quite pleasant. So it's quite a smooth energy, and actually really quite pleasant. Chocolatey. I mean, they do fruit flavours as well. So if chocolate isn't your thing and you wanted to go for something that felt a little bit more natural and fruit, then these would probably be a good option. I actually really quite like that. They're gluten free and they're vegan friendly as well. So, and the humour gel, you get caffeine versions as well. So if this one is a caffeine version, if you want to pump it up, I should say actually with this, there's no overt kind of caffeine bitterness that can come through with some caffeine based gels. So, I'm going to lick my fingers. I've got sticky fingers. Next up, Endurance Tap. Canadian, these guys, and very, very simple. Being Canadian, what have they used? Maple syrup, and they've got sea salt and ginger. That's what you get in this one. Now, there's a few things that I really love about this. It's 38 grams, so again, it's quite lightweight. You get, for that, you're going to get 25 grams of carbohydrates, which is nice. There's a bit of ginger in here and a bit of sea salt, as I said, but it's mainly it's like salted maple, so there's a bit of sweet and savoury profile that goes on. This is nice though, because the rip top, not a rip top, sorry, it's a screw cap. There's a little screw cap, so you can open that up. It's very liquidy. It is super sweet. Even with that sea salt, it's very sweet. You know, basically think maple syrup. There's a warmth from the ginger though, which is very pleasant. And on runs I've used that, and I quite like that when it comes through. And it sort of keeps on giving after you've taken the gels. And there is definitely a saltiness, but there's overriding kind of maple syrup sweetness. Quite nice on your pancakes, maybe if you wanted to do that before you went out for a run. Get one in before you go. But I think this is, in part, there's a couple of these natural gels that make it a game changer. You know, you can have a bit of that, zip it back up, pop it in the pocket. You don't have to take the whole gel in one. Whereas with these guys, once you're opening these, they're in your mouth and down, or they're in the bin. You know, you can't roll them back up. You're going to have a sticky situation going on everywhere. Whereas with this, you know, you don't have to feel like you're chugging down an entire gel in one go. So that's quite beneficial. I like it. I think that over a longer race, it might get a little bit too sweet. So I would use these probably in variation with some other gels along the way, particularly, you know, for a marathon you might get away with 4 of these. If you want to go for ultra, I would be switching them up with something else that had a little bit more of maybe a savoury taste profile. So, last but not least, we have 33 Shake. These are the 33 Shake chia seed energy gels with electrolytes. These are one of the first natural gels that I came across, and it opened up my eyes to the potential of actually looking away from things that are maltodextrin based and pretty much all of your standard brands. And they've changed my kind of approach, or my understanding, or what's the word for it? They've basically changed my expectations about what I think you should be getting from a gel in many ways. There's a few really key differences to this that I'll go into before I go into the nutritionals. These gels come dried, so you actually have to add water to them. So you hydrate them. You can see here, that's it hydrated, but you have to fill up this bottle. You blow out the pouch, top them up with water, stick them in. And what you get is something that, there's quite a lot of heft to that. So on a marathon, these can be a little bit difficult to carry. You know, if you think about, you know, the bulk of something like that, or certainly against something like the Spring, which is really tiny compared to that. If these are, you know, hydrated and in your belt, there's a little bit of an issue on shorter distances. For ultra, again, where you've got a backpack or, you know, more pockets, then these really come into their own. Inside, what I really love about this, you can see the ingredients. You know, you can see that's all the seeds, and there's a real texture to these. The seeds are, you know, they're, how to describe it? You can feel them going down. You know, for a bit afterwards, some people might not like this, but you go end up with seeds sort of stuck in your teeth. Gives you something to do whilst you're running the next few miles. But there's only 4 ingredients in this. That's 3. That's 4. There's only 4 ingredients in this. You've got chia seeds. You've got organic coconut palm sugar. You've got pure raw vanilla Himalayan pink salt, and that's it. They're gluten free. They're dairy free. Vegan and vegetarian. Vegan and vegetarian? They're vegan and they're vegetarian. In each gel, you're going to get, this is a 21 gram gel when it's hydrated, and you're going to get 11.3 grams of carbs. So you don't get as much, but these actually have quite a slow release energy. You can also, as with the Endurance Tap, you can open and reseal, so you don't have to take them all in one go. And I tell you what, the way these taste is, it's just like, it's real food. There's no overt sweetness. There's no chemical flavour. There's no feeling of sort of an artificial sweetness. There's no fruit juice from concentrate to create the feel of fruit flavours. They just taste sort of nice and clean and fresh, and they're not overbearing. And I really like that about the 33 shape gels. I kind of wish that they were easier to carry, because let's face it, these aren't. And you wouldn't, if you wanted to take 4 of these in a marathon, you wouldn't necessarily be able to carry them all easily unless you had a really big belt. But they're easy on the gut. You don't tend to get a spike and crash, and so I'm a big fan of the 33 shape gels. So I know what you're all thinking. You're all thinking, okay, it's all well and good. You've told us how they taste. You've told us how many carbs are in each of them, but put your money where your mouth is and tell us which one you would use. What's your favourite? It's a really difficult question. I think, you know, I said it earlier, the one thing, you've got to find what works for you when it comes to gels, and what I like won't be the same for everyone. So what I will do right now is kind of put them into some kind of order and give them even like a best 4 in my interpretation of what you would use these best for and how they'd serve you. So let's kick off. If you like your gels that taste like these, in that consistency, I would go raw Velo, and I would go raw Velo over the One Pro. I think this one has got a fresher, more natural fruit flavour than this one. They've both got a similar consistency. So those two are more like your standard marathon gels, even though they're made from all natural ingredients. I'd much prefer to get my hit from everything that's natural rather than this one that's still got a bit of maltodextrin in. So these two top out. So standard marathon running, maybe a half. You want, like your gels, like the old school gels of maltodextrin, you don't want to stray too far from that. Then this has a similar kind of texture, a similar feel to it in the packaging and everything, even the rip tops. You probably get away with having one of these without necessarily even having some water. So that's that. Now, if you're these two, the Humor and the Spring, are probably more kind of closely correlated in terms of the texture and how they operate, what's in them. And I think for me, it's a difficult one. They're very similar. You know, these are both sort of chocolate flavour. This one feels more real food to me. This one is a little bit gloopy and it sticks to your teeth a little bit. So there's not a great deal to choose, though, to be honest. And I think you're looking at, you know, in terms of carbohydrates, you've got 25 grams out of that one for a 36 gram gel, and in this one you've got 12 grams. But I keep saying that, but this is the protein one. So Humor gels, probably better for that. Endurance Tap. If you really like something sweet and you're into your maple syrup and you like something that just goes down really easy, that's in liquid, and you've got a cap that you can close, then I think this is a really nice change up. I wouldn't use this for a whole marathon though. I think I might save it till later on when I wanted something to look forward to eat. It tastes great. You know, you could think about maple syrup on pancakes and all of that. It's got a bit of a hit of that, and you're not going to be disappointed when you eat it. I just don't think you'd probably want to eat 4 of them in a row. So that's what I would use. Later in a marathon I would have that one. This one I would love to use for a marathon. I think you probably need to take a few more of them than you can carry, and I think where the 33 shake gel really comes into its own is for ultra. I would be tempted to have one of these and have it as my kind of pre-race on the start line of a marathon or in the starter's pen, just to get that down, because you'll get a steady flow of energy from it. No rushes and sort of spikes and crashes, and so topping up with one of these before you kick off would be a good plan. And if you really want to feel something that actually has a bit of mouth texture, and you like to sort of have, you've got the seedy feel of the chia seeds in there. There's real feel. So that's what I would use that one for. Ultras before a marathon, and if you've got some way of carrying them, I even think that you'd be able to use these for longer. But that's it.